Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is December 4th, and today's episode is going to have a summary of the community call that took place earlier today. And we're also going to talk about the results of the rETH incubator. After that, we have a new price bot for RPL price in the Discord that I had a lot of fun using yesterday. And then we've got news of RPL liquidity and some other things as well. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so we're going to get started with this protocol update from Mav that was posted today. And he says, hey everyone, he says a community call started 2 hours ago, and this one was with the people from ETH OS. They're the people who made the new not a phone, the Regen 1, and they came in to talk about how they could basically be using Rocket Pool on their device when it's released, which is really exciting. There's also a POAP for this, and there's a new way of collecting POAPs from the calls, and that is by using a secret word during the call, and you basically enter that into the POAP Home app, which is a new version of the POAP app. So that was part of that. The next was the bi-weekly update, so we're going to come to that next. After that, there was an update on the Rocket Pool X account. So Mav said that the account is now regaining some momentum after being kind of in hiatus for a few weeks there and a year there pretty much. And if you want to help with marketing and content, then reach out to Mav, and I think he's kind of like forming a team or something. And he says, finally, you may have seen some content on X Discord about raising the gas limit at the node operator level. And he's saying that you can do that through Rocket Pool service config on your node as you SSH into the machine and just go through the usual config files. You can do it through there. So that's really cool. Thanks, Mav. Let's talk about the bi-weekly update now. So let's actually go. So this week's community call didn't actually have an update on the bi-weekly, discussion about it because everyone was kind of asleep. So he says we'll look to cover the bi-weekly update and other protocol news during next week's call. So that's when that'll be covered, but we can go through it now. So as always, this is released every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. So rETH supply is down 1.4% to 460,000. Active and pending mini pools came down to 123,121. Smart contract work on Saturn 1 is continuing. There was a GMC membership change. There was discussion about increasing governance participation. There was a discussion and a poll about version 10 rewards tree implementation. Actually, we didn't follow up on that after I covered it on Rocket Fuel. So let's see what people have voted here. So 91% of the people voted that this is within the discretion of the implementer and should be admissible without a full PDAO vote. And then 2 people said that they don't fully understand it. And then there was some question from Ramana about that. So that's cool. That's kind of what I expected there to be the case. And then next, one thing that Mav didn't cover in here was there's actually IMC change as well, with Jasper stepping down from the IMC and being replaced by Astanita. With DeFi integrations, we have Kinto XYZ supporting rETH, and then Degen 1 will be supporting Rocket Pool as well. Let me see the tweet because I actually missed that tweet, I think. Yeah, so they're saying ready to have Rocket Pool coming to the Degen 1, and then they're kind of promoting the community call there. So that is actually really cool. So I don't know how I missed that tweet. That's fine. Then there was some stuff with marketing. So official account is now up and running, being more Rocket Pool content shared on X. There's far too much to list, they're saying. Node operators showed off their effectiveness rating, and Langer spoke at the staking summit as well. So that was the bi-weekly update with a whole lot of content there. So thank you, Mav, for sharing that. Let's move on from that now to Here we've got the rETH incubator. So this was teased on Rocket Fuel yesterday, where I gave you all this little sneak peek of what was in here. And now we've got the final results, and we can actually show you all the scoring and stuff that happened. So we kind of ran through the results yesterday with Dr. Doofus's being number 1, then Noshua's time delayed rETH burning number 2, Never on Island use cases section on the Rocket Pool website being number 3, and then the other information that was going down from there. This now Google Doc is available for you in the notes below, so you can go and have a look and follow the results and see what you think. But the main section that you want to have a look at, I think, is the commentary section. And here, there was a really good commentary. Like I said that I would read through all of it, but I think there's just too much to read through all of it here. And there's like literally commentary on 20 plus rewards. So I think it might be worth it for you all to take a couple of minutes and read through it yourselves. There's 27 submissions here that are worth reading through. So I'll just read through the top 3, the ones that won the first prize. So with the star application, commentary was this: a well-structured and practical proposal with strong potential to generate significant demand for rETH. The proposed mint reward, if held for a year, offers a compelling 200 to 1 return, for far outpacing other reference cases. Suggested improvements such as using vesting stream that can be stopped or implementing incremental rewards, e.g. 0.1% per period for 5 periods, add flexibility and control. There's targeted outreach to protocols, particularly those unaware of Rocket Pool's deposit pool being reopened, and a whole sort of a focused approach. And the proposal is impactful, organized, and scalable, making a strong candidate for continuous implementation. It has a potential to address both short-term misconceptions and long-term demand generation in a strategic and efficient manner. So that was really cool. And the next one was Noshua's time-delayed rETH burning. So he said the proposal addresses an important issue with exit liquidity, which could increase rETH's appeal and confidence in its asset. Solving this challenge is vital for enhancing the desirability of rETH, and the idea presented is a reasonable candidate for addressing the protocol's current limitations. So that's that. There's some more information there as well that you can have a look at. They're basically saying that the implementation poses such challenges, but this approach could improve confidence in rETH. And then Never on Island, this was their rETH use cases section on the Rocket Pool website. So this proposal focuses on improving visibility and utility for rETH integrations, which could help to drive demand and better inform users. The integrations page already exists, is outdated and requires significant updates to maintain and remain accurate and useful, ensuring that content stays current, including addressing issues with integrations like Ribbon, Yarn, Convex, and Miso, and adding new ones like Aave is essential. So you can go and have a look through all of that. There's, like I said, there's a lot of information there for you to get through, but I think the next step of this process now is for someone, I think Shifrin maybe, nudge wink wink Shifrin, is to write bounties / grants for these, at least the ones that people really want to push forward. I'm guessing we'll get the first place winners, maybe the second place winners as well, and then if there's particular community interest in getting the ones from lower down, then someone will have to spearhead that, I guess, presumably, but I don't know. I'm just kind of making things up here, so we'll find out what happens. Okay, so yesterday was a really, really fun day in the Rocket Pool community. RPL was acting really nicely, and it gave us a very nice green day. So yesterday afternoon, after recording Rocket Fuel, I had this idea. I said, do you know how we have the all-time high bot command, and how that's pretty depressing to look at, because we're so far down from it. And then we have an all-time low command, which is also pretty depressing to look at, especially when Ramana updates it again. So I said we should have a all-time high SL. So that's an all-time high since the low. It might be nice to see the price and ratio go up. I said, Vaka, what do you think? So Vaka was the one who made the all-time high and the all-time low bots. So this was an all-time high since the low, since all-time low bot. So people here were like, that's a really, positive way of looking at it, a glass half full mentality. And I was like, yeah, of course it is, because it's really cool. And then Vaka actually liked the idea, so he said that was a nice idea, and that I said I'll be the keeper of the all-time high SL since the low, and yeah, it was actually really positive that Vaka responded like positively so quickly, and then before we know it, a couple of hours later, there was a new bot. So this is the RPL bot, like it's a sub command from that, and this is new all-time high since all-time low. So just like the all-time low bot doesn't obviously cover the actual all-time low prices, because those like ICO prices and like the doldrums of 2018 and 2019. What it covers is since the Atlas all-time highs, then the lows past that. So what this is doing now is covering the highs past the lows. So it's kind of confusing, but yesterday RPL price was moving really strongly, so I was like, oh, this might be a really nice way to keep track of just how the prices moved since then. So if you want to bring this command up, it's ATH SL all-time high since lows, and it'll give you an output for the price in dollars and in the ratio as well. So just as we started working on the bot, the price was $16.32, and then that went the ratio was 0.0444. So the prices were already moving up quite nicely at that point. Now, as the day went on, we updated it a whole lot. I'll come back to that in a second. So actually, maybe we should talk about that. As the evening went on, it actually got updated a whole lot. So you can see here, like on the ping server, you can see the output of the bot, and I think I updated it like 20 or 30 times. We're gonna come back and talk about that here. Actually, what happened is the price reached $19.90. So at one point it was up 33 I think, or 35% at one point, and the ratio hit 0.05288. Now that is actually really cool to see, and really awesome. So as I was updating the price, Kane said that I got to keep doing it until it reaches $20, and this was like way past my bedtime, but I kept at it, and I kept updating it as new price increases hit. Like here it hit $17.06 and 457 on the ratio, and then look, $17.17. And then as it kept going on, I kept updating it, and then Kane, like a few hours later, replies by saying, I did say until $20, but I was just joking. And just at that time, I was like writing the same thing, that I'm not going to go to sleep until this $20. And sadly, it didn't actually hit $20. The highest it got was $19.90. So that's when it kind of turned around. On Binance, it hit those prices. Here on CoinGecko, it registered as $19.99. But at that point, I went to sleep, and the time I think was, I'd said it like a whole lot of times earlier in the night that I'm going to go to sleep, but I didn't. And when I finally got to sleep, it was 5 a.m. So, oops. And then, of course, I had to wake up because I have like life stuff to do, and I had woken up, like I think I woke up within 2 hours of that. So I'm quite tired right now, but it was totally worth it. So yesterday it was RPL pumping, and then today it is ETH. So if we have a quick look at Binance, you can see that ETH went up to 3,850. Just around that price. And RPL is still up 16% on the day. It's currently at $17.65 after peaking at $19.90 earlier. So it looks like the price has actually held up quite decently. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun to follow that. And the ETH BTC ratio is right at that 0.04 mark, and it's just kind of like edging there. So it hasn't actually gone over it. Well, it just very briefly went over it a couple of times, but not stayed over it. So I'm really looking forward to that staying over it. And like I said, the ETH price is doing quite strongly right now. It's at $3,838. So that's actually really cool to see. Okay, talking about RPL price, Hodger here ran his script to get liquidity amounts of RPL on different exchanges, and here we saw that we saw that there's liquidity in a few different places, and the main change that's happened is that the balance liquidity has been taken away. Pretty much a lot of it got pulled. So here on ETH, the price was at the time of this was 3,632. RPL price was $16.30. So the order books that we used here: centralized exchanges, Binance, Coinbase, Deepcoin, Gate.io, OKX, BitGet, MEXC, Bybit, and Crypto.com. On the decentralized exchanges, had two of them: Uniswap version 3, and that liquidity is in ETH, and Balancer version 2, and that liquidity is also in ETH. However, one of the main comments that Hodja pulled out was that almost all of the $2 million of liquidity that was on Balancer got pulled, and only around $170,000 worth of liquidity remains. So that was an incentivized pool. So the incentives on there are actually really, really high right now. But the IMC is trying to figure out what we should do, basically, about replacing that liquidity, and what stance we should take. So what's actually really interesting here is that a 1,100 ETH buy would take the price up to $60 and up to 0.0165 on the ratio, which is about three times higher than where we are right now. However, on the sell side, there's not that much liquidity left. Where $1 million, or basically just around 200 ETH, would take us to zero pretty much. So of course, liquidity comes out, people would be buying if the price went down that low, people would be selling if the price went that high. So that liquidity does come out of the woodwork, when the prices change. But that just gives you an idea of how much liquidity there is for RPL on different markets. And I think that one of the things that we can notice from this is that it won't take much buying to move the price up, depending on how that all goes. So that's definitely interesting to keep an eye on there. Val, like I said, replied by saying that, let me see if I can find Val's comment, saying that we're going to figure out how the IMC should incentivize the RPL ETH going forwards. And that we're basically trying to figure it out. I'm sorry I lost that comment. I didn't have it open from before. So yeah, you can imagine Val saying that. Okay, next there's really interesting discussion that came up here with Astanita sharing a tweet from Vitalik, basically saying that a regular reminder that to L2s that you are not that are not you and optimism, saying that if you want to get mentioned in examples instead of me just ping-ponging between optimism and arbitrum over and over again, and get to stage 1 and have sufficient security orders to justify it, it's that simple. So Vitalik has been making this threat for a while that he's going to stop talking about any L2s that are not at the stage 1 of development on L2B. And the idea being that, by now these teams, they should have reached that milestone. So he's going to stop mentioning them. So Astanita was basically like, can we ask for clear instructions on how to get RPL mentioned as well? And I think what he wants is, some guidelines on how Vitalik would talk about LSTs or LRTs. We don't actually have anything like that from Vitalik, something as clear as reach this and I'll do that kind of thing. Jasper replied by saying, he already talks about Rocket Pool, and kind of brought up some blog examples. One of the things that was really interesting was Fizz was asked about this, about what does Vitalik think about Rocket Pool, and he says, I think he's still subscribing to the threat model of someone having 1/4 the required ETH to attack the network. He doesn't really consider that Rocket Pool has agreed to self-limit to 22%. And then there was Jasper thought that Vitalik was conceding at that point, but Superfist said, I felt frustrated for the longest time that he just doesn't seem to appreciate the value that Rocket Pool brings to Ethereum. He seems to feel like professional Lido operators are just as valuable as thousands of home stakers, and we all know so much better than that. So Jasper said, have you talked to him over the last year? And Fizz said that he hadn't. He doesn't feel like he has access to Vitalik anymore. So that discussion was kind of going back and forward. And then Jasper said that I know that Langers and Vitalik talk. So, they asked Langers about the LST risk dashboard and whether, that's something Vitalik might want to talk about. And then Langers was kind of catching up with messages he came by later. And basically, Jasper said, last time Vitalik mentioned Rocket Pool was about a year ago. We're curious as to what his thoughts are on Rocket Pool these days, as he used to be against making the 51 attack easier. I think his input would be useful for the LST dashboard and the community is working on. And then Langer's replied by, kind of explaining where he stands with talking to Vitalik. So he says the last time we spoke, it was around the enshrining liquid staking idea. He says, to be honest, I think it's hard to tell what he thinks about Rocket Pool. I've tried probing him to find out, but he keeps his cards quite close to his chest. He definitely likes decentralized staking protocols and would prefer to make them trustless. There are many options among researchers. So last time I spoke with him was not set on any one idea. He was playing around with the rainbow staking idea. So he says in terms of the LST staking dashboard, he says I can mention it to him, but we would need something that hooks him. So this is then Jasper says, Hani Abu is the person who's kind of designing the website. He says, perhaps Hani Abu has something that can hook Vitalik. And then Hani Abu replied by saying, I don't quite have something that could hook Vitalik right now because he just has the user interface for the website. He doesn't actually have any other content. He says it'd be fairly basic compared to potential on purpose to get something out of the door and to build up from that. So it looks like there might be like a version 0.1 of the staking safety LST dashboard. And then as we get community feedback, you can build on that and add more and more information. So I think that'll be really interesting. And if Vitalik gets involved and kind of endorses Rocket Pool, that would be absolutely amazing. Okay, so this whole discussion of economic security and all this kind of stuff kind of got Jasper thinking, and he started writing some ideas down about how a 51% attack is very unlikely from Rocket Pool, and then kind of was sharing his ideas and his notes. And as the evening went on, he's like, the scope creeper started. So he says, I was going to start writing a paper about how Rocket Pool is good and how 51% attacks aren't really an issue. And end with that thesis outline. So he's actually started adding more information to it. And then he says, I'm writing again and it feels good. He says it's about how to value Ethereum, and I'll be mentioning Rocket Pool a lot. The narrative is building, I see it. So he says he wants to release it on Christmas 2024, 2 years on from his Why rETH Will Flip ST-ETH paper that he wrote, that 50-page textbook basically that I read out as an audiobook. So then he said here that there was a first draft on the defense of LST section. So this is just a part of it. Here there's 20 pages basically. So I'm not in a position to go through this right now with you guys. Sadly, I've not had the time to engage with this draft yet. I want to engage with this draft soon. So maybe I can put this for tomorrow's episode if you all remind me about it. But yeah, this is just a draft, so just Jasper getting some of his ideas out there, but definitely check that out. The link, of course, is in the description. Next, we've got some interesting news that came out of 1KX. So this is their wallet. 1KX, for those of you who don't know, were a large node operator who were kind of upset with the way the vote went for the tokenomics, the path that the community chose. They had a kind of proposal that they wanted adopted that the community didn't want to adopt, and because of that they decided to stop staking with Rocket Pool. So they exited their 600 plus validators, and they had hundreds of thousands of rETH. RPL. I think it was close to 400,000 or maybe even something around that amount, I think. Anyway, half of that was sold when they exited their first node, and then there was some still left from exiting their second node, and that actually was sent to Binance a few days ago. I missed this, but apparently went in the few transactions, they went to Binance, and it looks like all of that has now been sold. So what's really funny is as they're sold, that is when the pump started for RPL. So I'm not going to complain about that. It's all good, but actually that's the wrong wallet. Let me see if I can just get their ERC20s. Yeah, so they've got $10 million in their wallet, and there is no RPL anymore in there. So actually they have 0.00215 RPL, which is 4 cents worth of RPL in there. So it looks like they've sold all their RPL and they are no longer holding RPL. So yeah, bye guys. Okay, and then I'm going to finally finish today's episode with some Ethereum news. I covered this while Anthony Sassano was out, when I was kind of covering for the Daily Gwei, and this was a post from Ryan Berkmans, who's kind of talking about where capital is on Ethereum, and he's got an update for this now. And It shows the capital on different blockchains, the big ones, the ones that actually have some TVL, and Ethereum is far and away the biggest at around $280 billion worth of assets. So that includes stable coins. It includes the top 45 non-meme tokens. It includes the top 45 meme tokens, and it includes NFTs and real world assets. So Ethereum here has over $1 billion, $100 billion of stable coins, about $100 billion of tokens. It looks like roughly maybe a bit more than that. Around 20 billion, I want to say, of meme coins, maybe 3 or 4 billion of NFTs, and maybe 1 billion of real world assets. The next one that's closest is Tron, which has $64 billion in assets, about 60 billion of which are stable coins. And then Solana comes after that with $30 billion, so 10 times more than Ethereum, and Avalanche and Near are rounding errors here. I'm surprised Binance Smart Chain isn't on there. I was expecting that might have had some TVL, but this is just absolutely, it shows that Ethereum is just a juggernaut, and that there's no other chain that quite matches, Ethereum for these assets right now. One thing that's really interesting is that people were like, oh, Ethereum is losing its dominance, and like other coins, other tokens, other platforms and blockchains are coming and taking away, market share from Ethereum. And what's actually happening is that, Ethereum's stablecoin dominance is actually going up. So there's more stablecoins coming onto Ethereum and its layer 2s, and layer 1 and layer 2s, than there are on any other blockchain right now. And I think it's over 55, maybe somewhere close to 60% dominance for stablecoins on Ethereum. So this is actually really cool and like worth keeping an eye on, I think, going forwards. So whenever Ryan updates this, I'll try to cover it on Rocket Fuel just to let you all know where we stand with Ethereum. But I hope you've all enjoyed the last 24 hours. That price action has been really nice to see. And yeah, I'm going to end the episode there. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.